Ben 10 was an extremely vital part of my time as a young lad. It unleashed mine and plenty of other kids' imaginations with a universe to explore and the idea that a kid just like you could turn into creatures that could do pretty much anything. Being raised as a Christian, I was encouraged from a young age to seek out entertainment that would be beneficial for my soul. So when I saw an ad for the show, it was Ghostfreak drinking soda.
There it is! There's my soda!
I rolled my eyes at it because the only good spirit is the Holy Spirit. So this Ghostfreak guy was clearly an evil spirit.
It's a surprisingly accurate description.
Well, my friend showed me Ben 10 down the line, and my first exposure to it was oddly enough the Megawatt episode and the Big Tick with Cannonbolt's debut. I loved Aliens, and I loved that this kid could morph into aliens. So I would watch it every day after school because season 2, I think, was airing at the time. And Cartoon Network was running reruns up until that big finale with Kevin 11 and Vilgax attacking. And over time, watching reruns, I was like, this ghost guy's an alien. I was pretty stupid for thinking he was some evil spirit. Or was I? This video is not sponsored by Manscaped. There simply isn't enough time in the day to shave everything. Let me clarify, this is the second episode in the series about media that's made me cry, so you can't even tell, but I'm diverging from the formula. What a bad idea on episode 2. Like, you don't even know there's a formula. But basically, I'm supposed to be talking about shows and movies that tug at my heartstrings, and while Ben 10 was a massive show to my childhood, it made me cry out of sheer terror. And what's Halloween all about? Fear. And candy. And dressing up as a princess. One day after school, at the ripe age of 7, I see the episode Ghost Freaked Out, a season 2 episode of Ben 10 where Ghostfreak starts haunting Ben's dreams and begs to be removed from the Omnitrix, the watch that allowed Ben to access his alien powers. It was an intriguing concept, and it kept my little eyes glued to the screen. But the problem is, when you're a kid, your little brain doesn't understand portion control in relation to television.
Hi, can I take your order?
55 burgers, 55 fries, 55 tacos, 55 pies, 55...
So when Ghostfreak ripped his freaking skin off, my brain did not process the Eldritch abomination they, for some reason, allowed on a children's cartoon.
True form. Holy He's Beetlejuice. We talked about that before.
Did.
I need the power of the Omnitrix to make me whole again.
You're not whole.
A lot of kids were scared of this, and maybe you weren't, but what's it to you? You think you're better than me? You think you're cooler than me? You are. More than that, with my Christian upbringing, I believed and still believe there are spiritual influences on us that impact how we live. In fact, I knew about the demonic possession, and I believe it to be a very real thing. The Holy Spirit can do amazing things with you as well, and something I didn't know, scripturally speaking, those who are saved by Jesus can't be possessed by demons because the Holy Spirit resides within them. I didn't know any of that, so watching one of my hero's powers come to life in the form of an evil spirit, have it turn against him and possess a bunch of people, including his cousin, just to get to him and take over his body, it was a horrifying concept. I went to tell my aunt about the story only to start crying because my brain finally caught up with the really messed up thing I just witnessed on the Cartoon Network.
The next sound you hear will be your cousin's screams as she takes a big dive.
I was scared of a lot of fictional things when I was a kid. E.T., Gollum, Yoda. That's the funniest one. I don't know why he scared me when Sheev was hanging around. Ghostfreak scared me so much, and I knew Ben killed him in the end and all, so all I had to do was avoid that episode, right? Well, the internet was on the rise, baby. Ghostfreak would inevitably pop up on the wiki when I was Googling about new aliens. Heck, even on a pinball game on CartoonNetwork.com. And to top it all off, there's a whole 2-parter where he comes back.
He comes back to life?
And in that, he has this stereotypical, I'm going to take over the world plot. He'd still love to possess Ben and take over his life, but he's a little more focused on just controlling the Earth and mutating humans into mindless mutants. I'm sorry, what exactly was the plan here? Who was he going to rule? I became afraid anytime a new Ben 10 episode would come on, and I would cover my eyes when Ben transformed, because what if he turned into something new that was just as terrifying?
Another alien?
Ghostfreak kept me up at night. This dude was freaking terrifying. He bothered me so much. I remember being 10 years old and I got sent to the guidance counselor because I was talking too much in class or something. And at some point it became about overcoming my fears. So she Googled Ghostfreak and told me she was going to show him to me as some form of exposure therapy. But I cried so much she just gave up and didn't show him to me. And I'll never forget her saying, "Oh my gosh, I can see why you're scared of him." Not a great thing to say to a child right before attempting exposure therapy. Ghostfreak seriously had a hold on me, and for years my parents kept asking why I couldn't just let it go. This fear took up a lot of my time, considering the threat of my favorite TV show potentially scaring me at any point. But finally, at the age of 14, I just decided I'm getting a little too old for this. So I Googled him myself, gave myself the exposure therapy, and I was fine. In fact, since I got over it, I started looking into his lore more and more, like I did with other aliens when I was younger. It felt like a piece of the puzzle was missing, and I finally got to put it all together. After that, I watched Ghostfreak's episodes whenever I felt like rewatching Ben 10. I feel like I have a great respect for him now, being this hardcore supervillain that actually scared me as a child, and under the right circumstances could give me a jump scare today.
Boom!
And in a crazy turn of events, Hoy from Twitch met Steve Bloom. He got this video for me.
Hello, Ian. Ghostfreak, a.k.a. Scare here. In your face. Oh, man.
I felt like he was a good villain because he genuinely frightened 7-year-old me, a member of the target audience. Of course, I'd prefer he didn't, but he did. And the dark themes of taking away a child's free will is insanely disturbing for a kid's cartoon. So, while I respect it as an adult, I think I would prefer if Ghostfreak was never disturbing. But it is what it is. It's on par with Vilgax and his dark themes. The only difference is Vilgax wasn't scary, he was sick.
Peekaboo. I'm gonna feel that tomorrow.
Vilgax was basically the Thanos of our childhoods. Impossible to hurt, incredibly imposing, and when he spoke, it held weight. But Vilgax never made me cry. In fact, he became the crybaby.
You stabbed me.
The point being, as I grow up, I find myself less afraid of monsters from television and more afraid of things like loneliness, my time getting wasted, the cost of living constantly rising, and keeping my bathroom clean. It's dirty right now, actually. It's disgusting, and I'm doing this instead of cleaning it. But entertainment is so powerful. It can evoke all sorts of emotions as we become immersed into worlds that are not like our own.
Stanley! Barack is president! You are black, Stanley! I'm gonna give him mouth to mouth.
Growing up, I wanted to make movies, but I don't really think I'll ever get to do that. I still like doing YouTube and keeping my creativity going as much as I can. But if there's something to take away from all this, I'd say kids' shows need dark and grown-up themes. When I say grown-up adult themes, I don't mean monsters that scare away children. I mean things that will keep adults watching alongside the kids, as well as something that the kids will grow up to appreciate as they look back on the intelligence behind some of the stories.
Huh? Oh, come on! You gotta admit this is cool!
That's always such a satisfying thing to have happen, and I hope it continues for future generations without as many tears shed. Now, even if tears are shed, remember I one day looked at Ghostfreak and just went, oh, it was fine. Something that had left an impact on me for years had suddenly just flown out the window. Maybe you're scared of some dynamic or some event at work. You're afraid to meet new people, scared to ask out the person you like. Maybe you're scared to go out and help someone in need because it interferes with your schedule. You have a hard but necessary conversation with someone, or maybe even a fictional monster, or real ones. There ain't no way you can tell me spiders ain't monsters. The point being is we're usually afraid of things up until they actually happen. You can step forward and face your fears head on. It might be a scary experience, but you may very well walk away unscathed, or maybe even gain something from it. You'll never know unless you try, so go ahead and try. If you liked this video, maybe consider clicking that you liked it, leave a comment, subscribe. I'm not good at these endings sometimes. How do I stop the recording?